the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
What's up, y'all? It's Logan, and I literally just got done reviewing that Megan album 30 seconds ago, hopping right into this St. John album. This is St. John, While the World Was Burning. I'm straight up honest, I loved this one. It clocks in at 13 tracks in 40 minutes. St. John gets more and more popular every year as he releases more music. It's really solid music that's easy to vibe with. It's a great mixture of rap and R&B with one of the smoothest voices in the game. And he always gets some pretty solid features on there too. So if I'm going to talk about the pros, again, amazing sound, very well-fitting production, good features, the vibes, man, the vibes. That could be this whole review, just vibes. I'm going to say that a million times in this review, I can already tell you, but man, I mean, his voice just really puts you in this mood where you're enjoying it. The production really fits over there with that, and then he very well chooses his features. If I have to put out any cons, one, it would be that he has two remixes of Roses on here, which is obviously his most popular track. It is a really good track, but it can get repetitive to hear it over and over again, especially with two remixes on the same album. I mean, that's kind of like, I had to complain whenever Lil Nas X put Old Town Road on his EP twice. Of course, that was only 7 tracks compared to 13, but still, you know, it started and ended it. That was excessive, so I guess, I mean, it's only fair to call this excessive too, which, I mean, it is excessive. On top of that, it does keep the same vibe for almost the entire track list, so it can feel repetitive, although there are enough differences, and you should be able to enjoy it enough that you don't even really notice unless you're nitpicking, and I mean, literally, that is a straight-up nitpick, like, the nitpickiest of nitpicks, okay? So now I'm not going to talk about the standout tracks because then I just talk about all 13 of them. Outside of, I guess, the last remix of Roses. So I'm just going to talk about the features on this one. Alright, so first off, the first feature comes on High School Reunion Prom, and that is Lil Uzi Vert. This has a solid upbeat trap beat with some low-key guitar chords over the hook, allowing for a more calmer tone where St. John kind of brings it down a little bit on that, which I really enjoy, you know, changing up the vibe and sound throughout the track. He sounds very natural over this, and then Uzi also brings a more melodic, calm vibe, which I think is one of his better sounds. It's very similar to his sound on The Way Life Goes, which of course is probably his biggest track, one of, if not his biggest tracks anyways. I just really enjoyed that track, and I definitely plan on coming back to all of them. Then we have Monica Lewinsky, Election Year, with DaBaby and a Boogie with a Hoodie. Again, solid vibe, obviously. Vibe. Very understated beat that shows off John's voice more. I really enjoyed DaBaby over this one because he sounds amazing whenever he goes with that melodic flow. It's still the same flow that he generically goes with, but it just adds enough of a flair to it that you just enjoy it anyways. And then a Boogie, you know, he already has that melodic flow to him. At least that's the only time he sounds good, in my opinion. So he already sounds natural over this to make for a very solid track. Then you get the Roses remix with Future. The soft trap beat of this track allows for Future to fit well in this version of the remix, of course. Again, you've probably heard this track if you've heard St. John before, but he obviously sounds good. But the way he uses his inflection on this track really helps with the chemistry of Future as well, who's going with more of that high-pitched melodic flow. That, again, is one of his better sounds, and, of course, the one that you hear most on his album Hendrix from back in 2017. Again, that's one of that is probably my favorite Future album to vibe with, although I know it's not as good as DS2 or Monster, or maybe even High Off Life, I don't know. But that's a conversation for another day either way. Future sounds natural over this track, and it's a solid remix. Then we get Pray For Me featuring Kanye. One of the most chill tracks on here, really dark beat, allowing for some deeper cuts and tones in John's voice. Also allows for Ye to give a more introspective verse, as he kind of gives advice over it, but he also addresses his mental health concerns a little bit. He also says centrifugal. I don't think he's ever used that in a song before, so that was pretty cool. I just got to point that out. Overall, very solid track. Very solid verse from Kanye. Really enjoyed that one. Then we get Quarantine Wifey with Jid. And Jid, man, woo! I already knew based on how John was sounding on this album and how I know Jid sounds, it was going to work. Very confident track where John even comes out saying he's trying to be the next Kanye. There's a solid beat change right before Jid hops on that allows him to bring a more upbeat vibe to it with his unique sound and faster flow. He by far has the best feature on this album. I mean, by far. And that's saying a lot because Kanye had a good feature. Future had a good feature. Uzi had a good feature. The other two had decent features, being DaBaby and a Boogie. Man, he manages to change his tone all while still fitting the vibe of the track. Great. Final track I'm going to talk about is Ransom featuring Six Lack. I'm kidding, it's Black. And Kalani. Great choice of two artists that would really fit the vibe of this album. It just makes up for an extremely relaxing track. I think Black really stood out on this one, although because Kalani, she doesn't really get to do much. She does harmonize with both of them a little bit and then have her own part a little bit, but she doesn't really show up. And then, of course, St. John. I mean, he's going to sound great, of course. My conclusions here. This is a whole vibe. Okay? That's all I gotta say. It's so easy to hear, so easy to listen to. Sit back and enjoy it. It's technically nothing new. I mean, we knew he was going to come in sounding like this, sounding great. And a lot of the tracks, I guess, have a similar sound to them, although it does change up, and this one's more upbeat and fun. This one's a little bit darker. None of them are really sad, but all of them are easy to sit back and listen to, you know? And the writing on this album's pretty solid. I mean, it's pretty easy not to get caught up on those complaints because there are enough differences and you're just enjoying it enough. I mean, this is one of those that you can just sit back and enjoy the entire track list, and it doesn't really get old. Overall, I think y'all know where I'm going on this one. It's pretty easy to say this is a ride and vibe 8 out of 10. I was close to giving this that album of the year contender, but I just knew it wasn't really up there. And this is an example of what I was talking about on DaBaby album. I have this one ranked higher than DaBaby's EP that just came out. But again, while I did really enjoy it and probably will come back to it more than that one, again, that one just really gave me that feeling of like, okay, this one's hitting me to my core. And that's where the personal, the more subjective part of music reviewing comes in. I am as objective as I can be, but there is a certain subjective component, and I think that's where, you know, the numeric rankings kind of go into the objective part, but the word rankings a lot of the time, especially on that upper end, go more to the subjective part. That's why I go with the ride and vibe on this one, even though it's pretty objectively, yes, you're going to be able to vibe with this one. Objectively, I don't feel like it's quite album of the year content. Close, very close. Whereas DaBaby, subjectively, that one just hit me so hard I could not put it there, you know. That has absolutely nothing to do with this album in the long run, but just to break that down even further if you watch that review. That's all I got for y'all, though. Make sure to hit the like button, comment your thoughts on this album, what you want me to check out next. Make sure to subscribe, hit the bell next to my name for notifications. Make sure to listen to this album, and I'll hit y'all up next time.